कहाँ से है
जी? उन लोग अभी एम्बुलेंस में चढ़ाया, हम लोग देख के आ गया।
एम्बुलेंस में चढ़ा दिया है?
ये पता नहीं है जी, हम
चढ़ा दिया है ना
जी,
एम्बुलेंस में चढ़ा दिया।
हाँ जी जी जी
क्या था, कितने साल का है वो लड़का और क्या नाम है उसका?
जी 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 हम पास में जाने, प्लीज पास में जाने की नहीं देता है, हम लोग 50 फीट दूर में देखा।
तो सर आपने जो देखा
जी,
क्या वो कैसा?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल अच्छा कंडीशन में,
अच्छा कंडीशन,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
सर एज क्या होगी लगभग?
जो मेरा वैसे 25-27 होगा बस
एक व्यक्ति निकला है
जी। हाँ अभी इसका बाद लाइन से आएगा ना जी।
एक एम्बुलेंस में एक आया,
हाँ जी।
कहाँ का है
जी जी ये पता नहीं है
और
जी।
एम्बुलेंस में बिठा दिया सर?
जी जी जी
Okay, thank you.
So one of the NDRF workers there are giving details to the reporters who are present there. We can now confirm that 3 workers have been pulled out from this tunnel. Vijay Hori and Ganpati Hori, 2 brothers, were the first 2 workers who were pulled out. Now subsequently a 3rd worker has been pulled out as well. Initial first aid has been given to these workers, 41 of whom have been trapped inside this tunnel at this Silkyara Baralkot tunnel, where they've been stuck inside this tunnel for almost 3 weeks now, 17th day today, and at exactly 5 minutes past 7, the first major breakthrough happened when the pipe cleared all the debris and reached the place where beyond 58 meters these workers were struck. Now the first 3 workers have been pulled out. Initial first aid has been given to them. Some of them will be taken to the nearest hospital, which is about 30 odd kilometers away, and if there are any people who require more intensive medical care, then they will be airlifted and taken to the district hospital. Let me go across to Anshul Singh, my colleague, who's also been tracking every twist and turn of this story. Anshul, so these 3 people who have been pulled out, these 3 workers we can now confirm have been pulled out. What is it that doctors will be looking for? Obviously, these workers have spent the better part of the last 17 days in temperatures which are much lower than outside temperatures. Their vision needs to adjust to daylight. What are things that the doctors will be looking for as they stabilize these workers? And then if some of them need further intensive medical care, then where will they be taken to?
So yes, what we are being told that the initial medical checkup has been done and the first worker is almost on the verge of being loaded into that ambulance, and from here they would be taken to a makeshift hospital that has been made out here in Chiliani Sor, which is approximately 30 odd kilometers from this location. And post that, if at all more medical attention is needed, then these people would be taken in ambulances to AIIMS Rishikesh through a green corridor that will be made just to make sure that no obstruction comes in the way. Initially the plan was to airlift them. A Chinook helicopter was also placed in Chiliani Sor, that if at all any person needs that help, then they would be airlifted, and a 15-minute flight would take them to AIIMS Rishikesh. But yes, at this point in time, since it is the night, the helicopter would not fly, and hence it has been decided that if at all anyone's require any special medical attention, they would be taken over there. But yes, the next few minutes are going to be very, very crucial, as the visuals that we were waiting for those ambulances to come out one by one, that process is going to start within the next few minutes. So yes, all right,
Anshul, just give me a word. More reactions coming in. These disaster relief force workers who are coming out are giving us updates as to what is going on, the rescue operation. Let's listen in.
हमारे नागरिकों के लिए भगवान से दुआ करो, और भगवान ने वो लोगों की दुआ कबूल कर ली और सफलता के
Locals there absolutely ecstatic. They are singing praises to God because remember, Uttarkashi is a temple town, a holy town. Now 3 workers have been rescued, and it's a massive moment this after 17 days, and all of India's eyes were on these 41 workers. Now 3 of them have been rescued. The process of the others is currently going on. Anshul Singh is there still with us, and he's been tracking every twist and turn of this story. Anshul, just walk us through, how long do we expect for all 41 workers to be rescued from that tunnel?
So yes, in the next hour and a half, we are expecting that the entire operation would come to an end. All these people would be coming out. I've just sent visuals, Zaka, of the first person coming out, where I like the first visuals are out where the first person has finally come out of the tunnel, and these visuals actually tell that how confident was actually the chief minister and General VK Singh, who are both.
हाँ सब एकदम फिट, एकदम खा पी के फिट, एकदम मस्त हैं सब. अभी निकाला जा रहा है उनको. अभी 3-4 लोग निकल गए, 4-5 लोग. हाँ एक एक करके निकाला जा रहा है उनको. एक एक करके बाहर आ रहे हैं सब. कोई मेरा नाम है फिरोज. हमारा सुरंग बनाने को निकालने का, रास्ता बनाने का काम था हमारा. हाँ हमें 26 घंटे लगे हैं पूरे. 26 घंटे में जी. आपने क्या रेड माइनिंग की थी? आज से हाँ सब 12 लोग.
अच्छा. और कितना अभी जो है इसमें से कितने लोग आ गए हैं?
7 लोग आ गए अंकल जी. अभी
कितनी देर तक आप लोग करते रहे काम?
हम तो कंटिन्यू करते रहे, दिन और रात करा हमने 26 घंटे तक. हाँ सोने का कोई वो नहीं लिया हमने बिल्कुल भी. जब तक कंटिन्यू चलाया 26 घंटे काम, जब तक हमने आराम नहीं लिया.
क्या नाम क्या है आपका?
सौरभ.
कहाँ से आए हो?
दिल्ली से.
All right. Rat miners, and spare a thought for them. They were digging by hand. The last 10 meters or so were dug by hand over the last 24 hours because the metal debris had been stuck in that pipeline, and the only way they could reach the trapped workers was by digging through hand. Rat mining, which is an outlawed practice here in India by the National Green Tribunal. Now I can confirm that 5 workers are out. 5 workers are out of the 41. 36 still remain inside, but the people there are extremely hopeful that they can get all of them out in the next couple of hours. We have more reactions of the SDRF and NDRF personnel who are involved in this rescue operation.
वो बहुत ज्यादा उन लोगों उसने टाइम हमारा वेस्ट किया. अच्छा हाँ उसी वजह से ऑगर भी थोड़ा वो हो गया था. अगर वो चीजें ना आती तो शायद ऑगर बहुत पहले काम कर देता, बट वहाँ मैनुअली काम जरूरी था, तो मैनुअली हम लोगों ने सब कुछ कर दिया. वहाँ पे कितने लोगों की टीम थी सर? 12 लोगों की टीम थी हमारी. कितना टाइम लगा इसको? हमें अप्रोक्स 26 आवर्स लगे. 26 आवर्स हमने इनको बाहर निकाल लिया जी. बहुत ज्यादा मेहनत करी हमारे लड़कों ने, बहुत ही ज्यादा मशीनरी वर्क है. और
Sir, how can you explain this about this operation? Sir, this is very big success, sir.
All right, so the first pictures of those who've been rescued. Now we can confirm to you that 5 workers have been rescued out of the 41. 5 of them have been taken out of the tunnel. Initial medical checkup is going on, after which they will be taken to the hospital. But what a moment this is, not just for those 41 workers, not just for their families who've been waiting anxiously with bated breath for any news, any good news of their loved ones, but the entire nation was hooked on to what was happening there in Uttarkashi, praying with the families, praying with the concerned loved ones for the well-being of these 41 workers. And today, 17 days since the workers were first trapped. Remember, they were first trapped on Diwali Day. 17 days since then, they are now being pulled out one after another. First 5 workers have now been pulled out. A remaining 36 are being pulled out right now. Let's listen in to more reactions coming in.
Out already, and they're coming out gradually now.
All the member of rescue team is very happy, sir, including CM.
Yes.
And you, sir, and you, sir.
Yes.
Sir, from the first day I am taking your bite. That's why I want to. You can speak something.
The 5 workers have been pulled out. This is a massive moment, not just in this story, not just for those workers who were stuck there for the better part of almost 3 weeks now. 17 days they've been stuck there. And these are the first pictures from inside. You can see how the workers are being pulled out, and clearly what a moment this is. Pushkar Dhami, the Chief Minister, has been there for the better part of the last week or so. General VK Singh, you can see him in the pictures as well. These are the first pictures of those workers who've been rescued from this tunnel. They've been trapped there for the last 17 days. Now we can confirm that 5 workers have been pulled out. This is a massive testimony to the hard work, to the patience. Really, they were tested to the very hilt. Over the last 24 hours, they were digging manually by hand. These rat miners who were brought in from Bihar and Jharkhand, they were digging by hand because they couldn't dig through machines anymore. The auger machine had broken. The drill of the auger machine had broken. Those drill bits had to be removed manually by hand, and the rest of the debris, about 8 to 10 meters, had to be dug by hand. So for the last 26 hours, hand digging was happening there, and finally they have found success. They have found the trapped workers. 5 of the 41 have been rescued, and we're given to understand that in the next couple of hours, the remaining 36 will be rescued as well. Let me go across to Sudhir Krishna, former Urban Secretary, who's joining us. Raghav Chandra is former chairman of the NHAI. Mr. Chandra, all right, Mr. Sudhir Krishna is there with us on the line now. Mr. Sudhir Krishna, this is a story that everyone in the country from Kashmir to Kanyakumari has been following. What are your thoughts as we see these pictures? This was a historic rescue operation, and I'm pleased to inform our viewers that all 41 workers are in reasonable health, and that all 41 will be rescued over the next couple of hours. 5 have already been rescued. What are your thoughts as you see these pictures?
I think it's a moment of great happiness, satisfaction and pride also. Happiness and satisfaction about the safe retrieval of the trapped miners, and also a pride in the sense that our agencies worked hard, whether it is NDRF or whether it is other agencies, state and local and national agencies, they worked hard. So to that extent, it is really a matter of satisfaction and pride. But having said that, I think there's a lot more that we have to see just beyond this rescuing operation. Why this whole thing happened, why the situation happened, and whether it can happen again, and how to avoid this situation happening. There are a lot of issues here,
Yeah.
And, it also gave us a feeling that our country has respect for life, because end to end the whole country was concerned about the trapped persons. On the other hand, when we see that almost 1.5 lakh people die every year in road accident, one starts feeling that whether we really value life. But today we got the feeling that yes, our country has respect for life.
I think that's a great point that you make, Mr. Krishna, because it is said that in India life is cheap. But I don't think anyone who has seen this saga for the better part of the last almost 3 weeks now, 17 days, these workers have been trapped inside. No one will say that in India life comes cheap. They've moved heaven and earth to bring these workers back. Yes, of course, they faced all kinds of hurdles. The machine drilling met with this hurdle of the auger bit, the auger drill being broken. It was broken into multiple pieces. They could not retrieve that by another machine. They had to then pull it out by hand. If you can just take us through, what kind of ordeal, not just these workers who were trapped inside had to go through. I'll come to that in one moment. But the rescue operation itself, there were experts who were flown in from the United States, experts who were flown in from Australia, and they were overseeing this operation. Multiple agencies were involved in it, and clearly they finally found this major success, and particularly in the last 26 hours when these rat miners had to be brought in from Bihar and Jharkhand, and they had to literally rummage through the debris with their bare hands to cover the last 10 meters or so. Yes, Mr. Krishna, yeah. You have to unmute, sir. Please unmute. Yeah, thank you.
They have done really a wonderful job. There is no doubt about it. And this is not at all the prescribed procedure for mining or for tunneling of rat hole mining, etc. is not at all prescribed. And it is very, I would say it is a matter of great surprise that we had to fall back on this. And our standards are different. The Bureau of Indian Standard has set standards for mining, both excavation type as well as tunneling. And now I think they have to design standards for rat hole mining also. But then all this put together gives an impression that our agencies are not really, they need a lot of capacity building to understand what the what the geology is like, what the Himalayan geology is like. Because 16 days ago when this started on 12th of this month, and we were given to understand that within 2 days these trapped miners will be retrieved. But 2 days kept on increasing and then so on, and they could not fathom what exactly was the problem, and every time there was experimentation going on. So this gives it's like I'm just saying that silver lining of the dark cloud is that we got an opportunity to reflect on our strengths and weaknesses. And
All right.
work
So
on our
clearly,
weaknesses.
just to bring our viewers who are just joining us, the big story that's coming out of Uttarkashi is that 5 workers have been rescued. These workers have now been rushed to the hospital. Initial medical treatment has been meted to them at the tunnel site itself. Their blood pressure needs to be stabilized. Their vital parameters need to be checked. This is the first video of the first worker being pulled out from the tunnel after 17 days. First of 41. You can see Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Dhami there. You can see Minister of State VK Singh also there. And they've been there for the better part of the last 3 or 4 days. Certainly the Chief Minister has been there for over a week now, monitoring these rescue operations. And clearly, what a moment this is for the first worker who was pulled out from this tunnel. They've been stuck there for the last 17 days. They're a disparate group of people. They were building this tunnel at the Silkyara village. This was the Silkyara Baralkot stretch. Of course, like Mr. Krishna was saying, there are a lot of unanswered questions about, ecologically sensitive terrain and building large infrastructure projects there. Remember, this is not the first time we've seen workers in an under construction project being stuck like this. There was an NTPC project in which workers were flooded out some years ago. But now the good news, and we want to focus for a moment on this big moment for not just those workers, not just their families, but for all of India who have been following this story with bated breath, because we could relate to each one of them. It was almost like a movie that was playing out in front of our eyes. And now the good news is the first set of 5 workers have been rescued from under the tunnel there at Silkyara Baralkot, and they have now been taken to hospital. The hospital is 30 kilometers away, the nearest hospital. Now I can confirm for you that number has increased from 5 to 8. So 8 workers have been rescued from the tunnel there. This was the Uttarkashi tunnel project that was going on. It was being built by a private company, and these workers had unfortunately fallen into this tunnel on Diwali day, 17 days ago. And over the last 24 hours or so, like we've been saying, they met with a lot of complications. The auger machine that they were using, the blades of it broke. The debris of those blades was stuck inside the pipeline, and therefore they had to send people in manually to remove the debris first. And then the last 10 meters or so, 8 to 10 meters or so, were absolutely critical and crucial, and there was no way they could dig through those last 8 to 10 meters with any machine, and therefore they had to rummage through it with their bare hands. A bunch of rat miners, I think about a dozen of them, were brought in from different parts of India, and they were the ones who finally managed to get the breakthrough. The breakthrough happened at 7:05 p.m. this evening, when the pipeline finally managed to cut past all the debris and reach the workers, and the first 8 workers have now been rescued. If I can go back to Anshul Singh, my colleague who's there. Anshul, just walk us through what is happening there right now. We're showing the first video of the first worker who has been rescued, and he was there with Chief Minister Dhami, with General VK Singh, the minister from the central government. What is the status of these 8 workers? Where are they being taken to right now?
So yes, let me tell you, Zaka, the celebrations are on out here in Uttarkashi, especially at the Silkyara tunnel site. If I could just move out of the frame, and I'll try and show you in the visuals over here. The ambulances are all readied up now. We are just awaiting for that first ambulance to finally come out. Firecrackers have started bursting out here, because remember, this entire incident happened on the day of Diwali, and the people out here decided not to celebrate Diwali because such a massive incident had happened over here. Now finally, after 17 days, these people who are now being taken out, finally celebrations have broken out over here. 8 people have come out from the tunnel safely is what we have been told. What is happening inside, that all these In fact, the initial medical test of the first 4 people has been completed inside the tunnel, is what we can confirm. And yes, these people are waiting for, at this point in time, for more people to come out, so that a large cavalcade could actually go through, because a green corridor needs to be made, and hence they are expecting that at least 4 to 5 ambulances, once they are ready, then they will start moving out. So yes, this is a big development that we are bringing to our viewers, is that people have been started to be loaded up in the ambulances. Their family members will also be with them, and one after the other they would be sent out from this location to Silkyari, where the makeshift community hospital has been made, in which all these 41 workers would be kept under observation for at least 24 hours, is what we have been told. And if at all someone needs more attention, then they will be eventually be taken to AIMS Rishikesh. So Zaka, we are getting some more good news. 10 people have now been taken out, is what we are being told.
All right.
From inside the tunnel. So yes, the first lot of 10 people has been completed. 10 people are out now.
Okay,
and within
so
the next
10
few minutes, the
workers
entire
are
41
out of the group of 41 that got stuck under this tunnel in Silkyara, the Silkyara Baralkot section of the Uttarkashi tunnel that was being built by these workers, these laborers. 10 workers have now been rescued. Like you've been hearing, NDRF and SDRF personnel there. Over the next hour and a half or so, they expect that all the 41 workers will be brought out. 10 workers have now been brought out, and these 10 workers, like I said, like Anshul has been saying, their vital parameters, their blood pressure, all of that will be checked. The ones who need further intensive medical care will be taken to the hospital. The others, of course, are being given saline drips and ORS. Of course, they'll also have to adjust. The temperatures inside the tunnel was extremely low as compared to the outside temperature where they are now. Also, these people have not been exposed to sunlight for the better part of the last 17 days. But what a saga this has been, and you can see the first video there on the right side of your screen. Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami, along with Union Minister Ms. General V.K. Singh. As you can see, the first set of workers being brought out. We can now confirm to you that 10 workers have been pulled out from this tunnel. Now that number has gone up to 15. So, folks, this is happening very, very fast, very, very quickly there at Uttarkashi, at the Silkyara Baralkot tunnel. 15 workers have now been rescued. That is almost, in fact, more than a third of the 41 who were trapped there for the last 17 days. Anshul, just walk us through what this means for the locals there as well. I'm sure they were just as tense, just as worried over the last 2 weeks since this story came to the national consciousness. What does this mean for the locals there? We can see some of them distributing sweets. There is sloganeering. People are worshipping at the temples. Fireworks are going off. What does this mean for this little sleepy village called Silkyara?
So yes, this absolutely means a lot of happiness for the people out here in Silkyara. In fact, the local peoples were expecting this to happen. They were praying day in and day out to their local gods over here, and that is the reason why this makeshift temple was also built over here. Over the last 24 to 36 hours, constant havan has been going inside, has been going in and around the tunnel point, is what we have been what we have seen over here. So yes, the situation out here is absolutely fine, and now we are expecting that within the next few minutes all these people would now finally be taken out. The official information that has been given to us is that abhi tak कुल 13 श्रमिक सुरक्षित बाहर निकाले जा चुके हैं. Is the official information that has been circulated to us at this point in time. So yes, one after the other people are being taken out safely, and as we had predicted that it would almost take 2.5 to 3 minutes for a person to actually come out from the tunnel, and that is something that is proving to be true. The NDRF and the SDRF are making sure that there is absolutely no time that is wasted to take these people out. And yes, celebrations have started over here. I heard a few fireworks also happening right at this spot. In fact, claps and celebrations and sloganeering have all started to happen over here. This is the spot from where the ambulances will be taken out within the next few minutes. You can see the crowd that has gathered over here. These are all the people who are locals over here, and they are out here in cold just to experience this historic moment that will be written in the history of this country. One of the biggest rescue operations going on for 17 days, one of the toughest rescue operations. One after the other, hurdles came, solutions were found, new hurdles came, new solutions were found. Now finally we are reporting what in fact we wanted to report for the last many days. Finally these people are out. 13 people have already come out. In fact, the rescuers are now confident that within the next hour or so, each and every person would be taken out. So this is the big piece of positive news that the entire country was waiting to hear for the last 17 days, and that is what is happening at this point in time. History is being made, and we are a part of this history now.
Not just for those 41 who've been trapped. Like I said, the entire nation was watching this with bated breath, following every twist and turn. They hit metal barriers; those had to be broken. Drilling machines were brought in from outside. There was this auger machine that was brought in from outside. That was, rummaging through the debris, and then the auger machine drill itself broke a couple of days back, and then they had to go in through pipelines and manually remove the debris of the auger machine drill that had broken, and then the last 8 to 10 meters or so had to be dug through with hand because they couldn't use any machines in those last 8 to 10 meters. You can see how elated the people there are in Uttarkashi, in Silkyara. I'm sure their families are absolutely elated. You can see people distributing sweets. You can see fireworks going up in the sky there. And that's because everyone was watching the story, almost following this like a family member of theirs had been trapped in. These 41 were India's brothers who were trapped in that tunnel there in Uttarkashi. Raghav Chandra is former chairman of the NHAI. Thank you very much, sir, for speaking with us. Your thoughts as these workers are being pulled out one by one. Clearly, they are relieved to be out. We all are relieved that they are all out. Just walk us through what this means, because for 17 days, as my colleague Anshul there is reporting from the location, there was one obstacle after another, and for each of those obstacles, new solutions had to be found and were found.
So this is something extremely joyful for not only these workers, for their families, but for the entire nation, and for all the agencies who are involved in construction, because such mishaps do occur. And to be able to unite, to be able to have a very organized and methodical mission mode rescue mission is in itself a very positive development, which we have hitherto not seen happening in India, where such tragedies or mishaps occur in isolation. But here the entire nation got together. So not only from the optics part of it, but also from the professionalism which was displayed in conducting this entire operation, calling in foreign experts, using the best possible techniques, and to be able to get it done. That is a very, very happy, very joyful, very satisfying, very relieving, and also a moment of great jubilation for everybody who's connected with the construction sector or has been connected with the construction sector.
Just talk us through, there used to be a time when it was said that life in India is cheap. I mean, the often cited statistic is more than 1 lakh people die in road accidents. But these 41 workers, like I said, it was not just the fact that, the rescue teams were brought in from different cities. There was one American who was sort of overseeing it. There was an Australian national who was brought in. The entire country sort of came together following these developments. Our various agencies, the NDRF, SDRF were strongly involved in this rescue operation. But the fact that, the system went out of its way, it pulled out all stops to ensure the safety and to ensure that these 41 were rescued hale and hearty, alive and well. Talk us through that and why that's a change from years past.
You see, in the past, we've had, we've heard of the Latur tragedy, the Chasnala tragedy, and various other such mishaps where people have lost their lives in large numbers because the systems for safety, the systems for rescue were not so developed. But this is the sign of a nation which is advancing towards becoming a developed country, that every such mishap or every such ordeal is taken seriously, not only by the agency which is actively involved in conducting that operation, but by the entire nation. And whether it is the media or whether it is the civil administration, the army, or the NGOs, everyone in a single in a unitary step, they echoed that the first target should be to rescue the workers and to get them out before further post-mortem or analysis is done on anything like this. And so it's a very, very positive augury for all of us that we are being more evolved in our approach towards such matters. And disaster management is taking an important part of our official and administrative thinking. And hopefully this will set standards, apart from taking remedial steps, which must indeed be taken, and investigations, blah, blah, etc. But we must also learn from this that we must set in place systems for operations and rescues, and we should have solid SOP prepared after this.
You make a very valid point. All right, Anshul Singh, my colleague, has an update, so let me go across to him. Anshul, so 15 workers rescued is the last figure that we have. What further details can you share with us from Ground Zero?
So yes, the official information that we have at this point in time, 13 workers have been taken out, and at this point in time, the pilot vehicle is now trying to clear this route through which the ambulances will be taken out. You can see in these visuals that how the operation has just now started. A green corridor is being made right here to make sure that when the movement of ambulances start, that happens in a free manner and there is no obstruction that is present over there. The crowd that you are seeing that have gathered over here, this is the crowd of local people. In fact, announcements are being made for people to move aside. And what we have been told at this point in time, that as the people started coming out, Bharat Mata Ki Jai was some of the slogans that were raised inside the tunnel as well. You can imagine the kind of hard work that has gone inside from at least 15 different companies that were working over here round the clock. More than 1,000 workers deployed on the ground, making sure that this entire rescue operation becomes a success, and that is becoming a reality now. All that hard work that has been put in over the last 17 days, that is becoming a reality now. Now this area is now being cleared of people so that a green corridor could be made, and the ambulances that would then be taken out, these ambulances are taken out without any obstruction at this point in time, because the main focus of the rescuers is to make sure that all these people are taken to safety at the earliest, and through the green corridor that has been made over here. So yes, a lot of developments happening with every passing minute, and we are expecting that within the next half an hour this entire operation would come to an end, and each and every person who is inside the tunnel would eventually come out.
Of course, and that's the word that we're getting, that in the next hour or so all of them will be accounted for and all of them will be brought out. I'm also joined by Mr. B.S. Singla. He's a former CGM of NHAI. As we look at these pictures, and there's moments of joy there in Silkyara. People are celebrating, sweets are being distributed, fireworks are going off. Obviously, the entire nation has been praying for the well-being of these 41 workers. Walk us through, what are the lessons that we should be learning from such large infrastructure projects, Mr. Singla, because questions will need to be asked. Maybe not today, but certainly when the dust settles on this, questions need to be asked about these large infrastructure projects in ecologically sensitive zones that are being built. What are the safeguards and the checks and balances that need to be put in place so that a situation like this can be avoided in the future?
Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Singla, can you hear me? All right, let me go across to Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain. He's a member of the National Disaster Management Authority, and he's been constantly in touch with the rescue teams on the ground. He's been constantly on a daily basis been updating the media on the progress in this rescue effort so far. General Hasnain, first of all, many congratulations to you and your team. It's a fantastic job done. Like I said, an entire country was watching every move of the rescue operation here, and you had to face one obstacle after another. Just walk us through what the last 17 days have meant for you and your men.
Firstly, Zaka, I think the congratulations is due to the nation and not to any of us individually. Right from the Prime Minister, He has led this entire thing. The government of India, which has got its act together completely on this entire operation. I don't think any time I have seen the manner in which every department of government of India has come together. So let me tell you, starting from the 12th of November, when the first news came in, I think it was the Prime Minister's Principal Secretary who took the first call on this and put across. He knew that some of the best people involved with infrastructure development are there in the Indian Railways, who've been involved with bridging, with tunneling and things like that. They were the ones the first access was made to. And thereafter, progressively, as advice kept coming in, more and more departments, more and more ministries came in. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has been obviously the core organization which has been deeply involved. The Secretary has been at the site for almost the entire time. The subsidiaries of the ministry themselves, the various authorities have been there, the NHAI being one of the main ones. Besides that, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Cabinet Secretariat, of course, the NDMA, Ministry of Health, almost every department has come together, not to forget the state governments, who have all enabled these green corridors to be given for the movement of massive equipment from different parts of India through various roads leading up all the way to Uttarakhand. It's been a huge challenge. Without the Indian Air Force's effort, nothing could really have been achieved, because they were the ones who were always standby, moving all kinds of awkward equipment into this area. I think the presence of leadership, starting with the Prime Minister, who has been giving directions from moment to moment. He's not only been receiving a feedback, not only monitoring, but also giving directions. Along with him, the Prime Minister's office, the PMO, led by the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, who has taken it upon himself to physically visit the site, speak to the workers, take a full feedback of every option which was being exercised in this entire operation. All this has been done there. The Minister of State for Road Transport and Highways, General V.K. Singh, who's camped there. Now, his presence, for example, made all the difference, because decisions could be taken on the spot. And if additional resources were required, they could be whistled up. For example, the Magna cutter and the laser cutter, etc. At night, who would think of going to a particular agency and organizing its move of all that within the next 12 hours? All this was possible because the decision makers were at the right place at the right time. The communications were very good. DOT, lots of things to the Department of Telecom for being able to strengthen the communications at the spot. It was very, very weak in the beginning, but subsequently built up. And then, of course, the NDRF, the Army engineers who have been there right through. And I think you cannot forget the rat miners. Very indiscreet kind of term, but look at the manner of risk that they are capable of taking. Going through this tunnel, going and doing the last 10 meters of tunneling with a manual effort, cutting, removing iron, steel implements in the middle, and then finally getting the breakthrough.
So walk us through the challenges that
I'll be the last word I will say is for the media. This
Sure.
effort could not have been possible without the media putting across the right picture, the right story, the right expectation to the people of India. It was not unrealistic at any stage.
General Hasnain, could you walk us through the various obstacles that you had to face, this rescue effort had to face over the last 2 weeks, whether it was encountering metal obstacles for which special plasma cutters had to be brought in, and then of course, like you said, over the last 26-30 hours or so, you had got to a point where, because the auger had broken and it had to be manually cleared out, and then the last 10 meters or so had to be manually dug in. Just walk us through the various obstacles that you and your team faced and how you overcame that in the last 2 weeks.
See, Rakam, what was happening was that in the beginning, perhaps, people were having unrealistic expectations that this mission, this operation is going to get over in a jiffy. Slowly, I think it was through the efforts of the higher leadership that it was made evident to people that this was for the long haul. And that's where the media came in very, very handy. Second thing was a very fine decision taken that we will use multiple options, bring in simultaneity into the whole operation. Now, it's easier said than done. For example, if you go to do top drilling, you got to have a road to be able to take the drills on top. The BRO came in and immediately started doing this. Similarly, there were many others who were involved in these kind of preparatory efforts to make sure that the equipment came at the right place. When the first option started getting exercised through the horizontal
Drilling.
probe which was taking place from the Silkyara side, everyone was very hopeful. In fact, in the beginning, there were unexpected, unrealistic expectations that we will break through on this first day itself. But subsequently, we realized that the auger had its limitations. And then came the problem that we really didn't have any other options to go horizontally. Someone then obviously thought about this kind of a thing, how to first of all get the auger out. That was the biggest technical obstacle in our way. Getting the magna cutters and plasma cutters, etc. An effort was made in, the technicians went in, brought us all these things out. Throughout the operation, I think one of the major lessons learned was that there were lines open with lots and lots of recommendations, lots and lots of approaches being made to offer services, offer talent, etc. My telephone was flooded completely. Lots and lots of things. There were people who had a lot of experience, who were volunteers to go there on the spot. For example, there's General Harpal Singh of the ex-DG Border Roads, who's there on the spot. The moment I learnt of his willingness to go, we spoke about it to the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, who enabled it in a couple of moments. He has been there for the last 4-5 days, offering his services, offering his advice. So this is what brings, in an emergency, there is nothing like this. There were huge number of obstacles en route. But I think it's the overall cooperation, the offer of their services free of cost, which has enabled this.
General Hussain, there used to be a time not so long ago where it was said that in India life is cheap. But this episode over the last 17 days has illustrated that when the system wants to and it puts its mind to, then it can go to any length to save even one single life. Experts were brought in from Australia, from America, micro-tunneling experts, and like you said, the last 10 meters was dug through with hand. So, just the lessons learned from this complex operation over the last 2 weeks plus, what would that be in your mind, top of mind?
Firstly, Zakat, I have been reminding a lot of people, and I did it in the media conference today, that a lot of people in India have never read the 10-point agenda of the Honorable Prime Minister on disaster management. And in that, one of the points is very clear. Every operation, every disaster management opportunity like this must not be without the lessons learned. The lessons must be learned, analyzed properly, documented, and perhaps put out as guidelines. Now, that is exactly what is necessary to be done in this. I think the first major strategic lesson is that you do not underestimate a disaster. Right from the moment in the beginning, you should start treating a disaster as a disaster. If you treat it as something which is very small, which can be just wished away, you will never be able to get together the resources in the time frame required. Respect lives. 41 workers who may be considered by a lot of people as inconsequential. People who had no influence, no outreach. But here the government made sure that there was no requirement of an outreach by them. The government would do the outreach to ensure that their lives were saved. The moment that message went out, also in such emergency conditions, the psychosocial aspect of keeping people hopeful. The relatives were brought there, the district administration got its act together, the state government got its act together, the health department got its act together, and you found almost everyone who was required was there. The DOT put in a line in time, line communication was put up by the NDRF of the Uttarakhand government, and you found people talking, and the workers were talking to their relatives away from the site, away in Jharkhand and Odisha. Now, if a government is seen to go to that extent to make sure welfare is looked at, welfare is respected, lives are respected, obviously it makes a huge difference to those who are working and who are at equal risk. As much risk as the people who are inside who are to be saved.
General Hussain, I want to thank you and congratulate you and your team. We're also now getting the breaking news that all 41 workers have now been rescued. It's a huge moment of relief, a huge moment of pride indeed, that all 41 workers have now been rescued from the tunnel there in Uttarkashi. where they were trapped for the better part of the last 17 days. Finally, we can all collectively heave a huge sigh of relief, because it's not just these 41 or their family members. The entire nation was praying for these 41 workers, and now we can confirm to you that all 41 workers who were trapped in this tunnel in Silkyara in Uttarakhand have now been rescued. Anshul Singh is breaking this story for us. Anshul, just walk us through the details that you now have from official sources.
So Zaka, finally it has officially been confirmed that all the 41 workers who were stuck inside for the last 17 days are finally out. The moment that we were waiting for has finally come. 5 ambulances have been taken out from the Silkyara tunnel and have been rushed towards the Chinali Sor, where the location is for the initial checkup of these entire people. And if I could just show you in the visuals over here inside the tunnel, the more ambulances have now started coming out. Within the next few minutes, all these ambulances would be taken to Chiliani Sor, where they will be kept under observation for the next 24 to 48 hours. So yes, that is the news that we were hoping to hear for the last 17 days, and that has finally been proven true. One after the other, the ambulances are being brought out. The manner in which the NDRF and the SDRF has been able to complete this work in such record time, that is something that is very, very commendable, because remember, this entire operation started just an hour ago, and in just an hour's time we have been able to take out all the 41 workers who were stuck inside for the last 17 days. Celebrations have broken out over here, sloganings have started over here. What we are being told at this point in time, that even the chief minister has gone ahead and congratulated each and every person who was involved in this entire mission. The official release has also now come out. After 17 days, all the 41 workers have come out, is what officially has been confirmed. And yes, this is the big development. The last few workers are now being checked inside for the initial first aid that needs to be given to them. And post that, all these people would then be taken to the place in Chiliani Sor, where that has been selected for them to be kept safely for the next 24 to 48 hours. So yes, the initial operation that started 17 days ago has finally come to an end. One after the other, we have seen how there were so many problems that came in, new solutions were found, new problems were propped up, and new solutions were found yet again. And now finally, all these 17 people have finally been taken down. Definitely there is a joy. It feels like a festival out here on ground zero. The locals are absolutely ecstatic. That
it indeed is the great Himalayan rescue. Let's listen in to Nitin Gadkari, the Union Minister for Highways. He's also been closely following what's happening there in Uttarkashi. Let's listen in to what he had to say, the first reaction.
सब लोगों ने रात दिन मेहनत की, परिश्रम किए, अलग-अलग पर्यायों पर काम किया, और उसके बाद ये सफलता मिली है. ये बहुत गहरा संकट था. पहली बार इस प्रकार का अनुभव आया. इन लोगों की जान बची, उन लोगों को मैं बहुत शुभकामनाएं, शुभेच्छाएं देता हूं. और इसमें जान बचाने में जिन भारत सरकार की एजेंसियों ने और राज्य सरकार की एजेंसियों ने और सभी हमारे इंजीनियर्स थे, रात दिन अपने जोखिम लेकर जो काम किया है, उन सबको भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं, उनके आभार व्यक्त करता हूं. ये घटना ने भी हमको सीखने के लिए बहुत कुछ मिला है. अब हम लोग इसके बारे में टनल का सेफ्टी ऑडिट भी करने वाले हैं, और टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ कैसे हम लोग ज्यादा से अच्छी टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग कर सके, ये भी कोशिश करेंगे. हिमालय का स्टार्टा बहुत ही फ्राजिल है, और इसीलिए स्वाभाविक रूप से वहां काम करना भी बहुत कठिन है, पर इसके ऊपर हमको उपाय ढूंढना होगा. हम निश्चित रूप से उपाय ढूंढेंगे. इसी विश्वास के साथ फिर से एक बार जिन लोगों ने सहयोग किया, उनको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. और विशेष रूप से जो मजदूर है, उनके परिवारों को भी मेरी बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं, क्योंकि वो बेचारे वापस आए हैं. हमारे लिए, सबके लिए बहुत खुशी की बात है. उनके उज्जवल भविष्य की कामना. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. नमस्कार.
That was the Minister for Road Transport and Highways, Nitin Gadkari, there, closely following the developments over the last 17 days. These are pictures of Pushkar Singh Dhami, placing these workers, leading them up to the ambulances. He's greeted every one of the 41 who have now been rescued. The last 5 or 6 are being given immediate medical attention, after which they will also be put in this ambulance and taken to that makeshift hospital in Chilyansura, which is about 30 odd kilometers away. But what a moment of pride this is, because remember, disaster management is now a full-fledged science in this country. India has also pitched for the International Coalition of Disaster Management. Right from the tsunami in 2004, there's been concerted efforts every time there is a cyclone, an earthquake, or of course this kind of a tragedy in which 41 workers found themselves trapped inside a tunnel. Various disaster management agencies from the NDRF, the SDRF, the National Disaster Management Authority have all come together, learnt lessons. In this instance, even foreign experts were flown in to make sure that every worker was saved, that no one was left behind, that not one life was lost. So let me bring in Brigadier Vinod Datta, former senior consultant with the NIDM. B.S. Singla is former CGM with the NHAI. He's also joining us. Brigadier Datta, in an effort such as this, you need multiple agencies, state agencies, central agencies, agencies from the defense forces coordinating in an absolutely almost perfect manner. And I spoke to General Hasnain a moment ago, and every day there was a new challenge, a new solution had to be found out. What are the lessons learned in the manner in which all of these various agencies and the best talent in those agencies were put to use to rescue these 41 workers who were trapped there for the last 17 days?
Well, Jaka, first of all, congratulations for such a great achievement by the nation. And I want to highlight one thing, that unless all the agencies, they fire together, we are not going to hit the target. And this is what was done. Like I have, overseen disaster management operations for 3.5 years when I was in the Ministry of Defense in Headquarter IDS. And you see, such coordination was unparalleled. And it is a lesson to be learned that unless you synergize, unless you cooperate, unless you have federal corporatism, you are not going to achieve anything. And this has been done very nicely. Now, a few points which are takeaways is that we must cater for such kind of equipment which is there. Because there are so many, like there was one tunnel operation in Himachal which I supervised. I mean, the wastage of these cutters and the equipment exploitation is so much that we have to cater for the, equipment casualty also. And somehow, I mean, we were lucky that the green corridors were provided by the railways, by Indian Air Force, and the BRO and the Army engineers have also done a wonderful job, besides NDRF and SDRF and other agencies. But what is required is that we should not only restrict ourselves to only lessons learned. We must translate them into actions, that is, lessons applied. That is what I always, have been emphasizing. Because you see, all these after action reports or lessons learned, they will be gathering dust after some time. But we should, ask the people or the disaster management practitioners or the people who are involved in this construction to follow them. And the regulatory authorities, they should facilitate and they should be able to, implement them on ground. We should be, proactive rather than being reactive. But, God has been kind. The weather played a major role. And, all the, activities were taken simultaneously. And hats off to these mining, excavators who have done a wonderful job. And that's why there is a kahawat in Hindi. They say, "Jahan kaam aave, sui kahan kare talwar." So we should not forget that. And we should know that everything is fair in love and war. And that is what it has been proved. Let me also go across to Mr. B.S. Singla. He's the former CGM with the NHAI. For the NHAI, and you heard the minister also a moment ago, this was truly a test, because this was a project, an important project, a sensitive project as well, in a highly sensitive ecological zone. The fact that these miners were, these workers were trapped, and the system pulled all stops to ensure that not one person was left behind, not one life was lost. What signal does that send out? You have workers who are coming from different states. In this instance itself, out of those 41, there were people from Jharkhand, from Bihar, from Assam, from Bengal, all of whom were trapped inside. It's almost like a national effort that went in to try and rescue these people. What are your thoughts
as this was a crucial test for the NHAI as well. Not just for those who were involved in the immediate rescue operation, but the NHAI, the ministry also, and officials from the ministry, the secretary, the minister, MOS in charge there. They were all on site, on camp for the last 4 or 5 days, just being there to ensure that these workers are pulled out safe and sound.
First of all, I congratulate the entire team who has worked on this rescue operations. I will focus on why this failure occurred, what are the reasons, and how we can avoid such kind of operation in future, such kind of failures. The tunnels, the most important part is the soil investigation. Suppose in a 4-kilometer tunnel, generally the soil investigation carried out at just 4 spots. The soil characteristics changes from point to point. There should be proper soil investigation and proper designing of the tunnels. There should be proper support system. If a proper support system with designing is provided at the site, no such kind of failure occurs. The reasons of failures can be presence of the shear zone, fault zone, thrust zone. There can be difficulty in the terrain conditions and folded rock. There can be swelling of the claying soil, which can be controlled by the umbrella technique. The tunnel conditions are so that there can be these can be studied with the modern techniques, tunnel seismic prediction, ground penetration radar. There are so many reasons of failures. The fracture zones, sometimes they are parallel to the tunnel, sometimes they are perpendicular to the tunnel. Suppose these are parallel to the tunnel supporting system comes closer and closer. When we go for blasting, there can be heaves.
Okay, Mr. Singla, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think we've just got another piece of breaking news. Prime Minister Modi has just spoken to the Uttarakhand Chief Minister, Mr. Pushkar Singh Dhami, who, of course, was camped there for the better part of the last week or so. The last 17 days, these 41 workers were trapped inside. Prime Minister Modi and the PMO have been closely tracking this. The Principal Secretary has been there for the last couple of days. The former senior advisor to the PMO, Mr. Kulbe, was also closely involved in this rescue effort. Now the Prime Minister, who's been monitoring this on a daily basis, has just spoken moments ago to Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami. Let me go across to Aman Sharma, our political editor, who's got more details on this. Just walk us through not just this phone call, but also how various senior officials in the PMO have been on ground and tracking every twist and turn in this rescue operation for the last 17 days. Aman.
Yes, Zaka. So, obviously, it's a very, very well-coordinated operation, though it took 17 days, but the government did not give up its resolve. In fact, the Prime Minister has just spoken to Uttarakhand CM Pushkar Dhami, taken an update on the rescue efforts, taken an update on the health of the workers who all have been rescued, asked him about whether they are being taken to the medical facility. All care should be taken of them. The Prime Minister has asked the CM. He has also tweeted out how it is a great moment that everybody has been rescued safely, securely. He said that I want to salute the courage and the patience of all the 41 laborers who were stuck inside for 17 long days. And he said it's a moment of great relief that after a long wait, everybody has been rescued safely. And what government sources also tell us, Zaka, that how the entire effort was, coordinated right from the top. The Prime Minister was in constant touch with not just the CM, but other stakeholders as well. He had deputed 3 top officials, the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, Mr. P.K. Mishra, who's also one of the country's foremost disaster management experts, former Army Chief and now Union Minister V.K. Singh, who has become sort of an expert, handling such crises in the past. Union Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla, who was playing a key role in coordinating the rescue efforts. All 3 were sent to the Silkyara tunnel site to give some vital tips to the rescuers to monitor the effort. Also, how some strategic thinking was employed in the whole process. There were close to 16 to 17 agencies involved in this entire rescue effort, from the PMO to the NDRF to the SDRF, the State Chief Minister's Office, all these agencies, be it in the Indian Air Force, the BRO, Everybody's worked together in this, international drilling experts, rescue agencies, and even the local rat mining laborers, whom many had forgotten about, all were brought together to play a very key role in getting in. Also, government officials telling us this explains the whole of the government getting into a mission mode. This is like a whole of government approach, doing all possible help which can be provided for a mission focused strategy. Everything has been employed in it so that the government's response was swift, efficient, effective, and most importantly also, Zaka, the PM's direct and personal involvement in such crisis management. He was in direct as a touch with the stakeholders, sent his trusted aides and ministers to the ground. That helps in the rescue effort, that helps in the direction, that ensures there is no confusion and there is quicker decision making. And all of that has contributed in coming together in what we are seeing, this successful evacuation, rescue of these 41 laborers after 17 long days from the Silkyara tunnel, Zaka.
The Prime Minister has also just tweeted moments ago, and I want to read some portions of it. The success of the rescue operation of our labourer brothers in Uttarkashi is something that makes everyone emotional. I want to say to our friends who were trapped in that tunnel that your courage and patience is inspiring the entire nation. I wish you all well and good health. It's a matter of great satisfaction that after a long wait, these folks can now meet their loved ones. The patience and courage of these families, which they've shown in this challenging time, is also something that needs to be appreciated. I also salute the spirit of all the people associated with this rescue operation. Their bravery and determination has given a new lease of life to our labourer brothers who were trapped there for the last 17 days. Everyone involved in this mission has set an amazing example of teamwork and good humanity. Let me also go across to Mr. Naveen Bhatnagar. He's former DG NDRF, who's now joining us, former DIG NDRF. Mr. Bhatnagar, like my colleague Aman was saying, the fact that multiple agencies from different arms of government had to come in for this, whether it was NDRF, SDRF, members of the NDMA, the Chief Minister was camped out there for the last 1 week or so. You had the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways involved as well. The NHAI was involved. The railways were making green corridors for these plasma cutters and specialized metal cutters that were being brought in from different states. The Indian Air Force was flying in specialized equipment as well. When you have such multiple agencies having to come together, the entire system has to pull its weight. That's when you taste success. Just walk us through how difficult that is for all of these different agencies to come together for this stellar rescue effort that we've seen, which has finally ended in success. It has ended in fruition with all 41 workers now being rescued.
Yeah, so it's a combined and collective effort by all the agencies. Nobody can take the advantage that I have done. No, it's a collective efforts which was done by all the departments, including PM, PMO, CM and other secretariat and all the people, all the forces including NDRF, SDRF, Army, Navy, Air Force, everybody was the experts of all the departments are involved in this thing. Even then, whenever we found that somebody is expert in this operation, so he was called from abroad also.
Yeah.
So all the people from entire area, including the abroad also. So everybody is giving his contribution, and due to that effort, due to their efforts, now we succeeded. Now our flagship is very high, and we have escaped. We have taken out the 41 workers from a dangerous place where it was almost 16 to 17 days. Really a miracle, you can say is a miracle. And all the efforts came to rescue them. Even then, we can say that God also was involved in this thing. Yeah. God gave us the power, the way also, and including all the people who were involved in this nearby area and all these things. Now see, at many times we felt that how the rescue will come, how we will go ahead. So, but we got this thing way and means, and accordingly the work was done. In the last moment, one obstacle came and it was also removed. And now third obstacle was that pipe was very high, on very high. So it was very difficult to take out the workers through pipe to come this side.
Yeah.
So immediately this platform was prepared. Platform was prepared in both the sides. So after that it was succeeded, and because lot of mud and concrete and other things were there in the pipe, so it all things were removed, and well in time. I'll appreciate and I'll salute to all the Indian people who involved in this thing.
Okay.
Even then Mandir, Pujari, your Gurdwara and all these things, all the people
Let
played.
me let me also bring in Dr. S.K. Singh. He's a
Including your-
geologist. Anup Nautiyal is an environmentalist. Dr. S.K. Singh, clearly, now is a moment for everyone to heave a huge sigh of relief. The entire country was watching very closely the twists and turns, the kind of obstacles that the rescuers had to face. Metal obstacles came in their way. They had to get special cutters that had to be brought in from Hyderabad and other different places. Once they got through that, then the auger machine, the auger drilling machine that they were using, that broke. Then they had to manually send in people to clear that debris. And then the final 8 to 10 meters or so, which had to be manually dug by hand by these rat miners who were brought in from Jharkhand and Bihar. Just walk us through, yes, lessons have to be learned, questions have to be asked, but the manner in which over the last 2 weeks plus, over the last 17 days, every challenge, every obstacle that was thrown at the rescue team, they came up with a solution for it, and they kept pushing hard. Neither did they lose hope, and to credit the workers also, the 41 workers, neither did they lose their high spirits, neither did they lose hope. They always knew that help was at hand. It was just a matter of time. It had to be done right because of the sensitive nature of the ecology there. Just walk us through what you saw over the last 17 days in this rescue effort.
Yes, please allow me to walk that long as you talked. Yes, it is a great sigh of relief. And being a geologist, and for all the geologists, we know it was next to impossible. I am sorry to say that in some other channel when I was there, it was being said that we failed there, then after 2 days we failed. No, every day we succeeded, and all is well that ends well. It was such a situation in layman's language कि निकलने का कोई रास्ता नहीं था. Had we gone for a drilling from the top, the vibration of drilling would have made the mountain collapse. Had we gone from the drilling from the edit side, same level, the same thing would happen, because the Himalaya is a restless mountain, youngest mountain, still growing, still active. You know that 2 plates are there. So everything was done to perfection to rescue them, because any other option would have, panicky or situation like that. So there was a perfect coordination, and as one of my panelists said that the God was there. Yes, God was there in 2 things also. There was no rainfall in last 17 days. There was no problem of groundwater seepage, which is a very frequent problem. So everything, worked with time in place. And I tell you, one must thing I complained, that the geologists whose area is earth and mountains and even oceans, where you are going to put on a structure like tunnel or dam or anything, you must give importance to geologists so that this time of collapse never happens.
Okay, Anup Nautiyal is also joining us. He's an environmental activist. Yes, of course, I think the point made by Mr. Singh is well taken, that questions need to and will be asked. But today, as you see these pictures of these 41 workers being brought in, being rescued from this tunnel, and now all of them are being taken into hospital. From whatever pictures we can see, all of them seem to be in reasonable health. Now you can see Mr. Dhami and Mr. General V.K. Singh leaving the site, which means all 41 workers have been accounted for. All 41 workers have been rescued. You can see them leaving the site. Remember, these two have been there on camp. At site for the better part of the last week. Certainly, the Chief Minister had moved to this place. There was a makeshift temporary CMO that was set up at this place in Uttarkashi in Silkyara village. This was the Silkyara Baralkot section, the tunnel that was being built for the NHAI by a private company. And on Diwali day, I mean, look at the events that played out on Diwali Day on the 12th of November. These 41 workers, as they were working there, the tunnel that they were working in collapsed and they got stuck there for the last 17 days. And like I said, the entire nation has been following every twist and turn of this story. So let me bring in Anup Nautyal. Before we get to the questions that need to be asked and will be asked, just what does a moment such as this mean, not just for those 41 workers? I believe Mr. Dhami and General Singh will be giving a soundbite to the media as well. We'll cut across to that as and when we get those first pictures. But Mr. Nautyal, just what does this mean? What saga we have seen of these workers over the last 17 days? Just encapsulate your thoughts for us, please.
So Zaka, one huge, massive roller coaster ride of various emotions, so many ups and downs. And, when you were setting the context, you yourself mentioned, so many things which were happening on so many days. So this is, as I said, akin to a pot boiler, and so many hits, so many misses. Of course, the super duper superheroes are the 41 brave young men, looking at them coming out of the tunnel, really giving goosebumps. And what I was really happy about was that their spirits looked so high, close to 400 hours in that tunnel for these 41 young brave men from 8 states across the country. Still, when they're coming out, they are walking out, they are walking out with smiles on their face. So says a lot about their own resilience. And of course, these dates of 12th November to 28th November 2023 are going to be forever etched in the conscience and in the turbulent, fragile history of Uttarakhand. So, we have several landmark dates. 16th and 17th of June 2013, when the infamous Kedarnath and the tragic Kedarnath tragedy took place. The 7th of February 2021 in the district of Chamoli, when we lost more than 200 men on a wonderful day. And then this particular period, so personally also for me, even though I am not at Silkyara, I am in Dehradun, but really looking at this tragedy, this momentous tragedy, almost, on a regular basis. So again, a sea of emotions. Of course, many questions.
We can hear General Singh now speaking to the reporters there. Chief Minister Dhami is also there with him, right next to his side. Let's listen in to what these two men, remember, they've been there on ground for the last 1 week or so. The CMO had made a makeshift office there at the tunnel site in Silkyara. The MOS for Road Transport and Highways, General Singh, was also there looking at this rescue operation. Every obstacle, every hurdle that came their way over the last 1 week, that was dealt with. Let's listen in to what these two men, the men of the moment as they are, who facilitated this massive rescue effort, what they have to say.
बहुत मोबाइल नीचे करो, जिसमें हमारे श्रमिक भाई 16 दिनों से भी लगातार अंदर संघर्ष कर रहे थे और पूरा देश उनके लिए बाहर संघर्ष कर रहा था। इस पूरे अभियान में लगे हुए सभी कर्मचारियों को, सभी कार्मिकों को, सभी विशेषज्ञों को, सभी हमारे वैज्ञानिकों को, सभी भारत सरकार की संस्थाओं को और एक एक व्यक्ति, हमारा एक एक व्यक्ति जो मीडिया से भी थे, उन समेत मैं सबका धन्यवाद करता हूं कि इस बहुत ही कठिन और चुनौतीपूर्ण काम को सभी लोगों ने अपना सहयोग प्रदान किया और बहुत चुनौतीपूर्ण काम होते हुए भी प्रातःकाल और शाम दोनों टाइम हमारे प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय मोदी जी लगातार इस रेस्क्यू अभियान की हमसे सभी लोगों से लगातार जानकारी करते थे, लगातार अपना जो सहयोग देना था, जो उनका एक संबल था और उनका जो एक सहयोग और हम लोगों को जो भरोसा था और जो उन्होंने, मैं कहूं व्यक्तिगत रूप से, उन्होंने मुझे एक काम भी दिया हुआ था, ये ड्यूटी दी थी कि किसी भी तरीके से इन सबका समन्वय करते हुए बाहर निकालना है। तो उनका अगर संबल न होता, उनका इतना जिस प्रकार से आज भारत सरकार की सारी हमारी एजेंसियां इस काम में लगी, तो निश्चित रूप से जो कठिन काम भी हमारे लिए आसान हो गया। मैं उनका भी धन्यवाद करता हूं कि और अभी भी उन्होंने, जैसे ही हमारे सभी श्रमिक भाई बाहर आए, उनका अभी दूरभाष पर फोन आया था और उन्होंने कहा कि सभी को मेडिकल उनका चेकअप ठीक से करना है, उनके परिजनों की सबकी कुशल क्षेम जानी, उनकी चिंता करनी है, उनके घरों तक ले जाने की उनकी व्यवस्था करनी है। सभी प्रकार से उन्होंने संपूर्ण चिंता करने का काम किया है। हमारे और भी सभी लोग इस काम में लगे हुए थे और विशेषकर से उत्तराखंड के हमारे सभी देवी देवताओं का भी मैं उनको भी नमन करता हूं कि उन्होंने बहुत काम किया। हमारे राष्ट्रीय जो सड़क परिवहन मंत्रालय है उसमें आदरणीय गडकरी जी भी बीच में आए, उन्होंने भी यहाँ पर हर तरीके से इसको देखा और हमारे जनरल बीके सिंह जी, इनका मैं विशेष रूप से सबकी तरफ से और उत्तराखंड वासियों की तरफ से इनका मैं धन्यवाद इसलिए करता हूं कि एक कैंप बनाकर लगातार यहाँ पर रहे और एक दिन भी इन्होंने यहाँ से कभी ये नहीं सोचा कि मैं यहाँ से कहीं बाहर जाऊं और इस कठिन काम को लोगों को लगातार संबल प्रदान करने का काम, उनको प्रोत्साहन करने का काम और पूरा हमारा जहां सभी एजेंसियां लगी हुई थी वहीं पीएमओ के भी सभी अधिकारी अपने अपने तरीके से इस पूरे अभियान को अपना सहयोग प्रदान कर रहे थे, योगदान प्रदान कर रहे थे। आगे आने वाले समय में हम ये जो जितने भी हमारे इस प्रकार के टनल उत्तराखंड के अंदर चल रहे हैं उन सभी की समीक्षा भी करेंगे और वैसे तो भारत सरकार ने इसमें सेफ्टी ऑडिट कर दिया है जिससे आगे निकट भविष्य में हमको इस प्रकार की किसी परेशानियों का सामना न करना पड़े। मैं सभी श्रमिक भाइयों को उनके उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए, उज्जवल जीवन के लिए मैं उनको सबको शुभकामनाएं देता हूं, उनके परिजनों को भी उनको भी शुभकामनाएं देता हूं और लगातार इतना कठिन चुनौतीपूर्ण काम जिसमें आपने देखा कि ऑगर मशीन मंगाई गई और पहले इंदौर से मंगाई गई, हैदराबाद से मंगाई गई और जिस प्रकार से मशीन बार बार अंदर टूट जा रही थी, जिस प्रकार से फंस जा रही थी, वहां पर गडर आ जा रहे थे, तमाम हार्ड रॉक आ जा रही थी, उसके कारण से वो बार बार रुक रही थी। लेकिन जो हमारे दिल्ली जल बोर्ड के और गोरखपुर से जो नीचे जाकर मैनुअल माइनिंग करने वाले थे उन सभी का भी मैं अपनी ओर से धन्यवाद भी करता हूं, उनका मैं अभिनंदन करना चाहता हूं। मैं सभी से एक एक से अभी मिला हूं और उन मजदूर भाइयों से भी मिला हूं जो बाहर निकल कर आए हैं। सभी लोगों ने कहा कि हमको हर संभव कभी भी अंदर किसी प्रकार की परेशानी नहीं हुई। निश्चित रूप से ये हम लोगों के लिए एक बहुत सुकून वाली बात है कि इतना बड़ा एक आपदा आने के बाद भी सारे लोग जो है सकुशल बाहर निकल पाए।
पहले लोग आपने क्या बात की थी सर? पहले मजदूर से आपने क्या बात की? सामने क्या था और क्या बात? पहले नाम क्या था और उसकी क्या बात? पहले मजदूर पहले और आप लोग क्या बात हुई?
सभी देखिए अलग अलग थे, जैसे कि अंदर विशेष रूप से जो हमारी शुरू से बात हो रही थी उसमें सबा अहमद, गब्बर सिंह और अखिलेश, तीन इनके जो टीम लीडर थे उनसे लगातार हमारी बात हो रही थी। उसके बाद आने वाले सभी लोगों से लगातार बात हुई है। सभी पूरे देश भर के जितने भी मजदूर भाई उसके अंदर थे सभी ने स्वयं ही आकर, चूंकि उनके लिए बहुत ही भावुक क्षण था, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी उन्होंने कहा कि हमको किसी परेशानी का कोई सामना नहीं।
मेरा सवाल अहम है।
उनको मैं बता रहा हूँ, उनको उन्होंने ये कहा कि मैंने कहा आप लोगों को अंदर किसी प्रकार की कुछ चिंता तो नहीं हो रही थी? उन्होंने कहा नहीं, शुरू के दिनों में जरूर हमको चिंता हुई, लेकिन उसके बाद से जब आपसे बात हो गई, अन्य सभी लोगों से लगातार कम्युनिकेशन होने लगा, तो हमको पूरा भरोसा हो गया था कि आप लोग हमारी चिंता कर रहे हैं और हम अंदर नहीं रहेंगे, हम बाहर निकलेंगे।
सर एक मिनट सर, सवाल ये है कि क्या आप जो रेस्क्यू करने गए हैं,
नहीं वो अच्छा प्रश्न पूछा, मैं बता रहा हूँ। एक मिनट इन्होंने जो पूछा मैं बताता हूँ। देखिए ऐसा है, नहीं अरे पहले एक मिनट, अरे इन्होंने जो पूछा मैं बता रहा हूँ। देखिए ऐसा है, ये सब लोगों ने बैठ के तय किया था कि जो सबसे छोटे होंगे उनको सबसे पहले निकाला जाएगा और जो टीम लीडर हैं वो 5 लोग वो सबसे अंत में निकले।
तो ये सबसे क्रूशियल मोमेंट कौन सा?
हाँ, एज में और जो भी क्राइटेरिया बनाया गया था
सर सबको निकाल लिया गया है, सबको निकाल
नहीं। जिस दिन देखिए ये 16 तारीख को जिस दिन ये अभियान तेजी से चल रहा था और लगभग 24 मीटर के आसपास पहुंच गया था, अचानक वाइब्रेशन तेज होने लगा और मशीन भी अंदर जाकर फंस गई। वो मोमेंट बहुत ही कठिन था और चूंकि उस दिन मैं एक कार्यक्रम के बाद मैं जैसे ही भोजन करने को जाने वाला था 3-3:30 बजे, और मुझे जैसे सूचना मिली तो वो मुझे एकदम से बहुत बड़ा मुझे एक झटका जैसा लगा। लेकिन मेरा ईश्वर पर और बाबा बौखनाथ पर पूरा भरोसा था कि वो निश्चित रूप से सबका जीवन बचाएंगे, सबको सुरक्षित बाहर निकालेंगे और उनका आशीर्वाद पूछने दो।
अब आगे की प्रक्रिया क्या होगी?
देखिए अभी
उनको अस्पताल भेजा जाएगा, 24 घंटे के ऑब्जर्वेशन में रखा जाएगा और उनको घर भेजा जाएगा।
देखिए ऐसा है कि अभी वो सारे के सारे एक लंबी चूंकि हवा पानी और एक अलग वातावरण से बाहर आए हैं, तो अभी जो डॉक्टरों की सलाह होगी उसके आधार पर ही हम लोग काम करेंगे। उसके आधार पर उसके बाद उनको घर भेजना होगा या जो भी करना होगा, पहले मेडिकल सुपरविजन में उनको रखा जाएगा, उनकी मॉनिटरिंग की जाएगी, उसके बाद आगे की कार्रवाई।
कोई क्रिटिकल तो नहीं है सर?
नहीं, कोई क्रिटिकल नहीं, सारे सामान।
एक मिनट इनको पूछने दो, उसके बाद आपके पास आ रहे हैं।
सर वर्कफोर्स कितना था, कितने लोगों को लगाया हुआ था, खासतौर पर अगर ऑपरेशंस की बात करें? कितना बड़ा मैग्नीट्यूड इन टर्म्स ऑफ नंबर?
देखिए अब ये नंबर तो मैं आपको देख के बता दूंगा, लेकिन इसमें जिन जिन लोगों की भी आवश्यकता पड़ी और देश के अंदर और विदेशों में भी जो टेक्नोलॉजी और जो विशेषज्ञ इसके थे, हमने सभी से कंसल्ट किया था और जो सबसे अच्छा रेस्क्यू हो सकता था उस तरफ हम लोग बढ़े। हालांकि कठिनाई आई।
एक मिनट बात कंप्लीट कर लेंगे। जी सर बोलिए।
जी सर तो वो अभी एस्टिमेट लगाना मुश्किल है,
वो आपको बता देंगे अलग से। और जितने भी लोग लगे
यहाँ पे कौन थे? आप थे, आपका हो गया।
आप भी बाबा बागनाथ के मंदिर में गए, वीके सिंह भी बाबा बागनाथ के मंदिर में गए। गांव वालों का कहना है कि जब तक मंदिर नहीं बनेगा हम आगे काम नहीं होने देंगे। क्या सरकार वो
पहले ही हम लोगों ने तय कर लिया है कि मंदिर वहाँ पर बनेगा, बाबा बागनाथ की कृपा से।
गाँव वालों से पूछने से पहले ही वो डिसाइड हो गया।
डिसाइड हो गया ऑलरेडी। सो मोटो हम लोगों ने
एक मिनट बाबा, एक मिनट।
इस पूरी कड़ी में रैट माइनर्स की भूमिका कितनी अहम थी? वो अंतिम पड़ाव में आए और पूरा ये
आपने शायद मैंने जो सबसे पहले बीच में बोला था, आपने शायद उसको ध्यान नहीं दिया। वो उनकी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका थी। दिल्ली जल बोर्ड से भी आए थे, गोरखपुर से भी आए हुए थे। उन लोगों ने मैनुअली जाकर जो काम किया वो बहुत निर्णायक इस पूरे अभियान को निर्णय तक पहुंचाने का काम उन्होंने भी किया है।
सर मजदूरों के लिए किसी राहत राशि का ऐलान किया गया, कोई समर्थन राशि उनके लिए?
राहत राशि इम्पोर्टेंट है।
नहीं, सभी
सर समर्थन राशि, राहत राशि।
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने ट्वीट किया है, फर्स्ट डे से लास्ट दिन तक वो चुनावी व्यवस्था के बावजूद इस पर मॉनिटरिंग करते रहे। उनकी संवेदनाएं पूरे देश ने देखी है, क्या कहेंगे?
मैंने आपको शुरुआत में ही कहा था कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का अगर इतना विशेष इस पर अभियान पर ध्यान नहीं होता, विशेष उनका जोर नहीं होता, तो इतना कठिन चुनौतीपूर्ण अभियान इस तरीके से पूर्ण करना आसान नहीं होता। और उन्होंने और अभी भी उनका कितना ध्यान है कि प्रातःकाल जब वो चुनाव अभियान में निकलते होंगे, प्रत्येक दिन जानकारी लेते थे और किस प्रकार से रेस्क्यू अभियान को चलाना है उस प्रकार से करते थे। एक तरह से मैं उत्तराखंड का मुख्य सेवक हूँ, मुझे उन्होंने एक काम दिया हुआ था कि किसी भी तरीके से इस काम को सफलता की ओर ले जाना है।
आप कोई और है इधर?
सर आपने कब ठाना कि मुझे यहाँ कैंप मुझे यहाँ कैंप करना पड़ेगा और आपने लगातार कैंप किया?
नहीं, मैं दीपावली के अगले दिन यहाँ आया था और उस दिन के बाद फिर मैं लगातार यहाँ आता रहा बीच में। और एक समय ऐसा आया कि अभियान हमारा बहुत तेजी से आगे बढ़ रहा था, फिर बीच में रुका। जब बीच में अभियान रुका तो उसके बाद मैंने तय किया कि जब तक ये अभियान पूरा नहीं होगा मैं सारा कामकाज यहीं पर रुककर करूंगा, कामकाज भी करूंगा और इस अभियान को भी पूरी तरह से देखूंगा।
एक मिनट
नहीं, राहत राशि के लिए देखिए, राहत राशि के लिए हमने अभी सभी श्रमिक भाइयों के लिए अपने उत्तराखंड राज्य की तरफ से 1-1 लाख रुपए की जो है व्यवस्था की है। 1-1 लाख रुपए की जो है कल हम उनको सभी को चेक सौंपेंगे और भी जो सहायता होगी वो करेंगे। और NHI-DCL जिसमें वो सभी लोग काम करते हैं उनसे भी हम अनुरोध करेंगे कि उस हमारे इन श्रमिक भाइयों को जो 41 हैं उनको जो है कुछ दिनों के लिए 15 दिन 20 दिन या 1 महीने के लिए सवेतन उनको जो है उनके घर जाने के लिए और रहने की जो है अनुमति दे दें।
धन्यवाद सर। कितने घंटे की
एक मिनट इनको पूछ लेने दे भाई।
रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन था उसका मैग्नीट्यूड हम समझना चाह रहे थे सर, मे बी इन टर्म्स ऑफ द कॉस्ट जो भी लगी या वर्कर, और दूसरा क्या एयरलिफ्ट करने की बात आ रही है, नॉट फॉर मेडिकल बट घर जाने के लिए। अभी देखिए, सबसे पहले अभी सभी लोग बिल्कुल जो भी अभी चेकअप हुआ है आने के बाद उनका ब्लड प्रेशर चेक हुआ है, अन्य जो भी जरूरी जो शुरुआती जो लक्षण होते हैं वो किसी प्रकार के किसी भी कमजोरी के या किसी थकावट के किसी बुखार के कोई भी लक्षण उनके अंदर नहीं है, सारे के सारे स्वस्थ हैं। और इतना बताऊं कि जब उनके लिए अंदर स्ट्रेचर की व्यवस्था की थी कि वो स्ट्रेचर से आए, उसमें स्ट्रेचर में नहीं आए, सारे लोग क्रॉलिंग करके आए हैं, तो वो सब स्वस्थ हैं और अच्छे तरीके से थे। इसलिए पहला सवाल जो मेरा था, हाँ, एक मुझे हम लोग को मैग्नीट्यूड समझा दीजिए, कितना बड़ा ऑपरेशन था, मे बी इन टर्म्स ऑफ कितना कॉस्ट आया या फिर इन टर्म्स ऑफ कितना वर्क। अब देखिए, अभी तो पहले कॉस्ट को देखते कि हम लोग पहले उनके जीवन को सुरक्षित बचाते या उनको बाहर निकालते। हमारी पहली प्राथमिकता थी कि कॉस्ट कितनी भी लगे, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा था कि किसी भी कीमत पर सबको सुरक्षित बाहर निकालना, ये हमारी प्राथमिकता थी। धन्यवाद।
Pushkar Singh Dhami, the Uttarakhand Chief Minister, along with MOS, Highways and Transport General VK Singh. Remember, these two men had been camped out there at Uttarkashi, overseeing this rescue operation. And one of the things that he said was that when the drill bit broke in the last 24 to 48 hours, the auger machine broke, that was a huge setback. But even that, the rescue team found a solution for it. They manually went in, cleared the debris of that machine, and then in the last 24 to 26 hours or so, the rat miners who were brought in from Gorakhpur, from Jharkhand, who manually then dug through the rest of the debris to get to these 41 trapped workers, all of whom have now been taken to hospital, and the Chief Minister also confirming that all of them seem to be in good health. Primary medical checkup has been done of all of them. Their blood pressure, their vital parameters are all fine. Their spirits are very high. You can see some of them smiling as they come out and as they greet the Chief Minister and the MOS for Highways and Transport. Let me go back to our guests who are still with us. And like I said, this is a big moment for every Indian who's been watching this, not just for those workers or their families who've been tracking every twist and turn of the story, but for all of us, because we were praying with those families, we were praying for the good life and the good health of these 41 workers and the fact that they be rescued safe and sound. And that has finally happened today after 17 long days. Dr. S.K. Singh, geologist, is with us. Naveen Bhatnagar, former DG of the NDRF. Anup Nautiyal, environmental activist, is also there with us. Mr. Nautiyal, you heard from Chief Minister Dhami and from Minister General VK Singh. Just the fact that so many different agencies had to be brought in and a coordinated approach had to be taken, because otherwise this would not have been possible, whether it was State Disaster Relief Authority, the Central Disaster Relief Authority, the Chief Minister's Office, the PMO, different sections of the Army and the Air Force were also involved. General Singh is just speaking. Just a moment. Yeah.
मैंने पहले दिन जब आप लोगों से बात की थी, मैंने एक ही चीज कही थी, हमारा एक ही लक्ष्य है, इनको सेफ निकालना। उसको देखते हुए हमारे देश में या विदेश में जिस भी चीज की हमको जरूरत थी, वो प्रधानमंत्री जी के मार्गदर्शन से वो हमको मिली। कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है, जितने साधन जुटाए गए हैं, इतने साधन किसी और ऑपरेशन के अंदर नहीं जुटे होंगे। दूसरी चीज, सब चीजों के अंदर बहुत अच्छा कोऑर्डिनेशन।
सर, हिंदुस्तान का सबसे बड़ा ऑपरेशन कहेंगे इसको? हिंदुस्तान का सबसे बड़ा ऑपरेशन कह सकते हैं टनल ऑपरेशन अब तक का?
ऐसा है कि जहां तक टनल के ऑपरेशन में इतने लोग फंसे थे, उनको निकालने के लिए जो चीज चाहिए थी, हर एक चीज की जरूरत पड़ती है। ये कहना कि ये बड़ा या छोटा वो नहीं होता। इस ऑपरेशन के लिए जो चीज चाहिए होती है वो पूरी हमने इकट्ठी की।
सर, देश में भी आपने लगातार यहाँ रुककर वो ताकत दिखाई। एक तरीके से आप अब मोदी सरकार के हनुमान माने जाते हैं, जहां होते हैं वहां ऑपरेशन।
आज हनुमान जी का दिन है।
सर, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने लगातार इस ऑपरेशन में भूमिका निभाई। एक सवाल, प्रधानमंत्री की भूमिका और जिस तरह संवेदनशीलता रही इस पूरे ऑपरेशन में, क्या कहेंगे?
प्रधानमंत्री जी का पूरा टाइम मार्गदर्शन था।
सर, प्रधानमंत्री आपसे क्या इनपुट लेते रहे बार-बार? ये
जो कुछ हो रहा था यहाँ पे, उसकी पूरी इनपुट उनको दी।
All right, General VK Singh there saying that on day one he had told reporters that our only aim, our only goal is to ensure that all 41 workers are safely rescued from that tunnel where they were stuck in for the last 17 days, and that has today happened. All 41 have been rescued. All of them seem to be in good health and in good spirits, which is perhaps more important, because think about it, for 17 days you're stuck in a tunnel with debris. What do? You don't know if you will be rescued out. You don't know if you will die of suffocation. You don't know whether you will be able to speak to your family or loved ones. But they kept their spirits high. And you can see that even now as they have come out. In fact, the Chief Minister even mentioned that instead of using the stretchers that were put through the pipeline, all of them crawled up, indicating that they were in sound physical and mental condition. So let me go back to Anup Nautiyal. These pictures, this rescue effort, and I've been saying this since 2004, since the tsunami happened, India has been consistently leading disaster management efforts, whether it was the Uttarakhand flash floods that happened more than 10 years ago, the various earthquakes we have seen from time to time, and now, of course, this under-tunnel operation, which involved all kinds of complications. But finally, the good news and the big news is that all 41 are safe and all 41 have been accounted for.
Absolutely, Zaka. And, there is a reason, of course, there's a very valid reason why Uttarakhand is called Devbhoomi, the land of the gods. And this particular saga of fortitude, of resilience, coordination, whatnot, which lasted for the last 17 days, as we said, from the 12th till the 28th till today. Having so many elements, aspects of science, of spirituality, technology, coordination, so on and so forth, and a lot of pictures which will also remain etched for a long, long time. Of course, the rat miners recently, the temple itself, and it became quite viral yesterday when there was an image of Lord Shiva on the tunnel, outside the tunnel due to some water seepage. The first pictures, which emerged from the auger drill. So this is really, been, as I said, so many defining pictures. But I think the question that you've also sort of hinted towards is after tsunami, and you mentioned about. So here I would like to make one at least key differentiation that post tsunami, in very broad, general terms, if you look at states in our country like Odisha, for instance, which are surrounded by ocean. So the early warning system and so on and so forth has developed in a far more robust manner in the coastal areas of the country compared to the mountain areas or compared to the Indian Himalayan region. And here I have some very specific examples to share with you. And the most recent one is from last month in October when the Teesta Basin, where this horrendous glacial lake outburst flood, as you know, so many lives were lost. And once again, the early warning system did not work there. Even if we come back to Uttarakhand, the tragedy of February 2021 in the district of Chamoli, the Tapovan Vishnu Ghat Pariyojana, where more than 200 people died. Again, the early warning system did not work. Yeah. We have more than 1,000 glaciers in Uttarakhand and so many glaciers across the Indian Himalayan region, but very few glaciers are getting mapped. So net, just to summarize, there is a lot of pre-work. There's a lot of these early warning systems that need to be, let's say, established on ground, and a lot of hard work needs to be. So a lot of pieces need to come together.
All right, just give me a moment, Mr. Nautiyal, because I also want to play out a phone interview which my colleague Manoj Gupta has done with the former advisor to the Prime Minister's office, Mr. Bhaskar Kulbe. He was also there every day of the last 17 days, monitoring the operations there. Like I said, there were various twists and turns. There was one obstacle after another, from encountering metal hurdles to the drill bit breaking, the auger machine drill breaking. All of that, the rescue team found solutions for. This is what Mr. Kulbe had to say, the first reaction from the former advisor to the PMO.
How you want to explain this?
No, I would explain this as an achievement of all Indians who supported us throughout this mission, because there were challenges that at some point in time seemed insurmountable. But I'm sure that you will agree with me that these challenges could be overcome because of the resilience of the 41 persons who were trapped inside, because of their indomitable spirits, and because of the unfatigable support that the entire India gave to us.
And sir, what is the health situation of all 41?
Everyone is hale and hearty. Everyone is very happy, eager to go back to home and meet their relatives.
And you were in constant touch with PMO. You have worked already with the Prime Minister's office.
Yes, one has been in constant touch. That has been a part of my job. So it has been successfully done. I am happy.
So PM is briefed about it, sir?
PM has been briefed, yes.
Okay, sir. Many thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Right,
Thank
Mr.
you so much.
Bhaskar Kulbe, their former advisor to the Prime Minister's office, who was also there on point at site for the last 17 days, monitoring firsthand the rescue operations. Naveen Bhatnagar, former DIG of NDRF, is also joining us. What will be the lessons learnt, Mr. Bhatnagar? Because, there have been natural calamities, earthquakes and cyclones. Our previous guest, Mr. Nautiyal, talked about how in Odisha, because of these early warning systems, where in the 90s and 80s you used to have tens of hundreds of casualties to cyclones, in the last few years, you don't hear of such high number of casualties. In fact, the casualties are probably in single digits. But from an experience such as this, an under-tunnel operation where you had very limited space to put in pipelines, and those pipelines had to dig through, meters and meters of debris, what would be your top 2 or 3 lessons learned from these last 17 days?
So it's a great lesson for our armed forces, and especially the NDRF and NDMA also, because it's a typical challenge. So we require the latest machines for this rescue operations, which were not there with us. Suppose we were having the latest robots with us, which can give us a quick and perfect rescue in this process of cutting down the debris and other things, and very quickly they can remove this mud and all these things from the pipe. So our manpower can be reduced by putting this robots. So second, I want that every labor who is working in this such type of environment, they are supposed to get the training of such type of incidents, how to rescue themselves. So as per NDMA Act and Policy 2009, subsection 10 and 11, it is clearly mentioned that everybody should be given this training on this rescue operation and disaster management, which they are not giving. They are not serious. So I can say, I'll request from all the authorities who are watching this show, I'll say that this training arrangement should be given to before putting the people there on the job. And third one, the audit. Audit is must for all the mines which are being placed in almost all the Indian flats or the Indian especially Himalayan ridge. So audit is must, because there is a great challenge of disaster and earthquake. So for that to remove these problems, we should go ahead with these things.
I want to ask Mr. S.K. Singh as well, because, clearly when the dust settles on this, questions will be asked about the escape tunnel not being fully functional here. Even larger questions about having such massive infrastructure projects in ecologically sensitive zones like we're seeing in Uttarkashi. We saw, I think last year, there was this NTPC case, again, under construction tunnel, which got flooded in. The workers were trapped there. Again, from a larger ecology versus need for infrastructure debate, as it were, what should be the takeaways from this episode over the last 17 days?
Yeah, the first thing is that all is well that ends well. ये जो पारंपरिक कहानी है वो अच्छी हुई. So all the hurdles which came in between we must forget, and we remember that we have done well and everything is well at the end. Second thing, the so-called, I don't like that name, rat miners, they have done a very excellent job, and they have proved that knowledge doesn't need any degree. Even if you don't have any degree, their knowledge has really worked today. And I also tell you that some people are saying that why they were not called earlier. No, every agency and every work has been done in a very synchronized manner, in a very orderly manner, and that is the result of it, that we as Indians, all the agencies have worked together in a proper coordination without just like an army or a very disciplined family. So that is that part of it. So we must feel happy, and we have learned many things. We have become wiser, because in the world such a disaster has never happened where the people were trapped and they were rescued after so many days. Probably it will go in the Guinness Book of World Records. and I tell you for good reasons, because everyone has come out, everyone is well, and the process we have applied has proved very, very good. Now we are
Mr.
coming to
Nautiyal,
this thing
we have
that,
seen in the past also, you know, oil rig workers get stuck. There was this famous case that happened off the coast of Bombay High. There was, of course, this Thailand where in a mine, I think, again, a large number of workers were stuck. You know, what are the precautions, particularly in sensitive areas like Uttarakhand, where there are multiple infrastructure projects? You have to balance out the need for having infrastructure because these are religious pilgrimage places, these are touristy places, and the state requires those tourists and those religious pilgrims for much of its economy. And at the same time, the ecological concerns also need to be kept in mind. If you could do a comparison as to, you know, the efforts that we have seen in the past in other countries as well to try in similar situations where people had to be extracted, people had to be rescued out of, and what has happened in Uttarakhand over the last 17 days, how would you compare?
So Zaka, I think the larger question is that, you know, because that's, you know, so what you said, in fact, one or two, three different things in your statement. So I would like to more pick on this very critical issue for Uttarakhand, which is how does Uttarakhand really move ahead? And this has really been a taxing question for the state, for its people, for its government, and so on and so forth. That how does one really balance ecology and economy? So, and this has been a vexing question which no one has frankly been able to answer so far. So while there has been a lot of talk, we really don't have a solutions. Now, what has also happened as far as this particular question is concerned is the development trajectory that the state has taken. And largely the focus of the state, whose stated intent is to double its GSDP in the next 5 years. So currently Uttarakhand's GSDP is 2,75,000 crore. There is an external consultant. The state, like the rest of the country, wants to double its GDP. And somewhere or the other, this is my belief, that this is also some sort of a precursor to these large projects. So one thing which I wish to sort of highlight through your program is this philosophy of being small is beautiful. So instead of trying to increase the GDP only through these large, 1.5 billion, 2 billion projects, could the state government look at more creative ways, more out-of-the-box ways? For instance, to share one data point with you, as a state, our budget is about 70,000, 80,000 crore per annum, but the value of eco-services on a conservative note that we are providing to the rest of the country and across the entire world is close to 95,000 crores per annum. And these are government figures. Is there a way to look at carbon credits? Is there a way to look at some other credits? So these are the kind of things that, you know, Uttarakhand has not really seriously looked at that. Okay. We have a wonderful institution called One Panchayat. We have 12,000 One Panchayats in the state, 72%. So our area is 53,000, more than 50,000 square kilometers. More than 70% of the state is a forested state. So how can we look at maximizing our green resources to strengthen our economy is something to work on. The last thing that I wish to mention is, because you asked that question to Mr. Bhatnagar, my focus instead of managing the disaster would actually be on preventing the disaster. So, you know, he had suggested 2 or 3 different ways in which disasters could be managed. I would personally advocate that we should really look at ways, how can we prevent, how can we not manage, but mitigate. And one of the ways to do that is seriously to relook at all the massive projects, you know, which are on the anvil in Uttarakhand. One specific example, one local example is of Mussoorie, which everyone in the country knows. Now, the government, the central government is talking about making a tunnel in Mussoorie. So that is something I think, you know, is something. Frankly,
it certainly is an occasion that calls for some kind of an evaluation of these large infrastructure projects, particularly in ecologically sensitive zones like Uttarakhand. I want to thank Mr. Singh, Mr. Bhatnagar, Mr. Nautiyal for joining us. I caught up with one of the key people who was behind this rescue effort, General Syed Atta Hasnain. Is a member of the National Disaster Management Authority. He was the points person, the liaison, if you will, who was giving daily briefings to the media about the twists and turns that were happening in this rescue operation. And there were many, there were plenty with these twists and turns. I spoke to him at length on what this 17-day operation, the 17-day ordeal meant for him and his team. This is my exclusive interview with General Syed Atta Hasnain. General Hasnain, first of all, many, many congratulations to you and your team. It's a fantastic job done. Like I said, an entire country was watching every move of the rescue operation here, and you had to face one obstacle after another. Just walk us through what the last 17 days have meant for you and your men.
Firstly, Zaka, I think the congratulations is due to the nation and not to any of us individually. Right from the Prime Minister, he has led this entire thing. The Government of India, which has got its act together completely on this entire operation. I don't think any time I have seen the manner in which every department of Government of India has come together. So let me tell you, starting from the 12th of November, when the first news came in, I think it was the Prime Minister's Principal Secretary who took the first call on this and put across. He knew that some of the best people involved with infrastructure development are there in the Indian Railways, who've been involved with bridging, with tunneling and things like that. They were the ones the first access was made to. And thereafter, progressively, as advice kept coming in, more and more departments, more and more ministries came in. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has been obviously the core organization, which has been deeply involved. The Secretary has been at the site for almost the entire time. The subsidiaries of the ministry themselves, the various authorities have been there, the NHAI being one of the main ones. Besides that, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Cabinet Secretariat, of course, the NDMA, Ministry of Health, almost every department has come together, not to forget the state governments, who have all enabled these green corridors to be given for the movement of massive equipment from different parts of India through various roads leading up all the way to Uttarakhand. It's been a huge challenge. Without the Indian Air Force's effort, nothing could really have been achieved, because they were the ones who were always standby, moving all kinds of awkward equipment into this area. I think the presence of leadership, starting with the Prime Minister, who has been giving directions from moment to moment. He's not only been receiving a feedback, not only monitoring, but also giving directions. Along with him, the Prime Minister's office, the PMO, led by the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, who has taken it upon himself to physically visit the site, speak to the workers, take a full feedback of every option which was being exercised in this entire operation. All this has been done there. The Minister of State for Road Transport and Highways, General V.K. Singh, who's camped there. Now, his presence, for example, made all the difference, because decisions could be taken on the spot. And if additional resources were required, they could be whistled up. For example, the Magna cutter and the laser cutter, etc. At night, who would think of going to a particular agency and organizing its move of all that within the next 12 hours? All this was possible because the decision makers were at the right place, at the right time. The communications were very good. DOT, lots of things to the Department of Telecom for being able to strengthen the communications at the spot. It was very, very weak in the beginning, but subsequently built up. And then, of course, the NDRF, the Army engineers who have been there right through. And I think you cannot forget the rat miners. Very indiscreet kind of term, but look at the manner of risk that they are capable of taking. Going through this tunnel, going and doing the last 10 meters of tunneling with a manual effort, cutting, removing iron, steel implements in the middle, and then finally getting the breakthrough.
So walk us through the challenges that
I'll be the last word I will say is for the media. This effort could not have been possible without the media putting across the right picture, the right story, the right expectation to the people of India. It was not unrealistic at any stage.
General Hasnain, could you walk us through the various obstacles that you had to face, this rescue effort had to face over the last 2 weeks, whether it was encountering metal obstacles for which special plasma cutters had to be brought in, and then, of course, like you said, over the last 26-30 hours or so, you had got to a point where, because the auger had broken and it had to be manually cleared out, and then the last 10 meters or so had to be manually dug in. Just walk us through the various obstacles that you and your team faced and how you overcame that in the last 2 weeks.
See, Rakam, what was happening was that in the beginning, perhaps, people were having unrealistic expectations that this mission, this operation is going to get over in a jiffy. Slowly, I think it was through the efforts of the higher leadership that it was made evident to people that this was for the long haul. And that's where the media came in very, very handy. Second thing was a very fine decision taken that we will use multiple options, bring in simultaneity into the whole operation. Now, it's easier said than done. For example, if you go to do top drilling, you got to have a road to be able to take the drills on top. The BRO came in and immediately started doing this. Similarly, there were many others who were involved in these kind of preparatory efforts to make sure that the equipment came at the right place. When everything was, when the first option started getting exercised through the horizontal
drilling
probe which was taking place on the Silkyara side, everyone was very hopeful. In fact, in the beginning, there were unexpected, unrealistic expectations that we will break through on this first day itself. But subsequently, we realized that the auger had its limitations. And then came the problem that we really didn't have any other options to go horizontally. Someone then obviously thought about this kind of a thing, how to first of all get the auger out. That was the biggest technical obstacle in our way. Getting the magna cutters and plasma cutters, etc. An effort was made in, the technicians went in, brought us all these things out. Throughout the operation, I think one of the major things, lessons learned, was that there were lines open with lots and lots of recommendations, lots and lots of approaches being made to offer services, offer talent, etc. My telephone was flooded completely. Lots and lots of things. There were people who had a lot of experience, who were volunteers to go there on the spot. For example, there's General Harpal Singh of the ex-DG Border Roads, who's there on the spot. The moment I learned of his willingness to go, we spoke about it to the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, who enabled it in a couple of moments. He has been there for the last 4-5 days, offering his services, offering his advice. So this is what brings, in an emergency, there is nothing like this. There were huge number of obstacles en route. But I think it's the overall cooperation, the offer of their services free of cost, which has enabled this.
General Hussain, there used to be a time not so long ago where it was said that in India life is cheap. But this episode over the last 17 days has illustrated that when the system wants to and it puts its mind to, then it can go to any length to save even one single life. Experts were brought in from Australia, from America, micro-tunneling experts, and like you said, the last 10 meters was dug through with hand. So, just the lessons learned from this complex operation over the last 2 weeks plus, what would that be in your mind, top of mind?
Firstly, Zakat, I have been reminding a lot of people, and I did it in the media conference today, that a lot of people in India have never read the
not deliver the job. Rat miners were called in. I'm going to cut across to my colleague Anshul. There's some more movement happening on the ground right now. Anshul, what exactly is happening?
So yes, the makeshift hospital that was made over here, things from that hospital is being loaded into this ambulances, and this ambulance will go right inside the tunnel at the exact spot from where these people will come out, and the initial first aid or whatever they require will be given to them. Things like mask would be provided to them at that very juncture. Shades, glasses would be given to them, because over the last 17 days they have no exposure to any sort of sunlight, and hence suddenly coming out of the tunnel might have some impact on their health, on their eyes as well, and that is the reason why everything is being prepared. The kind of air that they were breathing in, that was almost, there was not much dust inside is what we are being told, but since they would be stepping out on the construction site, there would be a lot of dust as well. So masks would be given to them. Not only this, but also warm clothes will be given to them, because the temperature inside the tunnel is somewhere around the 22 to 28 degree Celsius mark, and once they come out, they will have to face this cold temperature of 10 to 11 degrees Celsius out here, and hence warm clothes are being taken inside at this point in time. So yes, everything is on the being prepared. As I was saying, the ground work that we were hoping to see, that ground work has started. The family members have been asked to pack their bags. The family members have been asked to put the clothes of the workers in their bags and get ready, because at any point in time we are going to break this news to our viewers that crucial breakthrough has happened, Anusha.
Well, Anshul, you have diligently and patiently reported on this entire operation, and I'm sure the last few moments would be worth it, keeping in mind that hopefully all the workers will be rescued safely. Every person involved in this operation, multiple agencies that have been involved, have done a wonderful job. The last few minutes, the last few hours, that's the defining moment. Our focus here on CNN News 18. Anshul, let's also talk about the standard operating procedure that will be followed once these workers are rescued. Let's also talk about the fact that how through this pipe they will be rescued on those stretchers. And even while you're pulling those stretchers out of that pipe, one has to be really careful, cautious and patient.
So yes, patience is the key over here. Yes, a lot of hard work has gone into this entire operation over the last 17 days, and hence it is actually very, very important that they maintain the patience and do not get excited at the last moment. And that is something that these experts are prepared for at this point in time. You can see that how this work is happening, and as you rightly mentioned, the stretchers that would be taken inside, these stretchers would be pulled out in a very, very controlled manner, making sure that these people who are safe for the last 17 days do not get injured in the process while they are being pulled out. And hence we saw those mattresses being taken inside, the stretchers being taken inside. So basically on those stretchers these mattresses would be put, and then the wheels that have been attached to the stretcher, then they will be pulled out in a slow and steady manner. The approximate time for each person to come out is somewhere between the 2 minute to the 3 minute mark, and hence we are expecting that each and every 41 of them will be taken out in 2 hours once this entire breakthrough is made. So yes, that story is not very far, that news is not very far. It is slowly becoming a reality, what we were hoping to see for the last 17 days. And within the next few hours, this entire rescue operation would come to a halt. Remember, there were a lot of ups and downs. The hopes were raised, hopes came crashing down, problems after problems, solutions after solutions, new problems, new solutions, everything has been seen in this entire operation over the last 17 days. Now today, finally, we are hoping that for the thing that all the entire team was working for, approximately 1,000 workers from 15 different organizations, several experts from across the globe roped in, all working in tandem, making sure that these people are taken out safely, and hopefully that mission will come to an end within the next few hours. The breakthrough will happen within the next few minutes is what we are being told at this point in time. So yes, just the last few meters to go. The countdown has begun, and the visuals that you are seeing on your screens right now is of the NDRF team that has now been called inside. They are taking these beds that they have made. These are the stretchers that they have made, and it is being taken inside now. Finally, after the wait of 17 days, the NDRF and NDRF have sprung into action. The makeshift stairs that they had made, which needs to be taken from inside the tunnel so that people could actually climb on that and then get inside the pipe. Everything is in readiness. Just the last few meters to go. 55.3 meters have been reached. 57 is the breakthrough point. Remember the last time the food pipe that was sent, that was of 57 meters, and now 55.3 meters have been reached. The ambulances have now started going in as well. The ambulances are slowly now going in as well. We are getting these visuals to you. We are getting these visuals to you of how the entire operation is almost in its last stages at this. So what we are being told at this point in time, that the pipe has almost reached the breakthrough point. The pipe has almost reached the breakthrough point. This is what we can tell to our viewers. And within just the next few minutes, we are expecting that breakthrough will happen now. Everything is in readiness. The ambulance have reached over here. The SDRF teams are inside. The NDRF is on standby. Everything is now over. The last few minutes that we are waiting for. In fact, the pipe has...
$1 billion prayers have been answered today. All the 41 workers who were trapped inside Uttarakhand's Silkyara tunnel since 12th of November have been evacuated safely. The rescued workers were greeted by Uttarakhand's Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami and Union Minister VK Singh. Now, all the rescued workers have been taken directly to the hospital where their necessary health checkups have also been done, and by God's grace they have all been declared safe, and it's being said that their conditions remain intact. Remember, it was roughly around 8 p.m. today that all those 41 workers, after 800 hours of being stuck inside that Silkyara barcode tunnel which caved in on 12th of November, that was Diwali, remember, were rescued today at roughly 7:05 p.m. as has been shared by the PMO earlier as well. Those are the visuals on the left side of your screen which show the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami, garlanding all those rescued workers, the 41 trapped. The first one was roughly rescued between 7:05 and 8 p.m. today, and soon those ambulances that were parked outside the tunnel ferried them to the local hospital where they were all declared safe and sound. And remember, it's been a multi-pronged effort by more than 5 agencies, including the NDRF, the SDRA agencies, as far as even the Prime Minister's office have been very closely monitoring this entire rescue operation. Even the Indian Air Force was on standby. For more details, we'll be bringing you ground reports, but as of now, let's also bring you the reactions that have poured in.
16 दिनों से भी लगातार अंदर संघर्ष कर रहे थे और पूरा देश उनके लिए बाहर संघर्ष कर रहा था। इस पूरे अभियान में लगे हुए सभी कर्मचारियों को, सभी कार्मिकों को, सभी विशेषज्ञों को, सभी हमारे वैज्ञानिकों को, सभी भारत सरकार की संस्थाओं को और एक एक व्यक्ति, हमारा एक एक व्यक्ति जो मीडिया से भी थे, उन समेत मैं सबका धन्यवाद करता हूं। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय मोदी जी लगातार इस रेस्क्यू अभियान की हमसे, सभी लोगों से लगातार जानकारी करते थे।
मैंने पहले दिन जब आप लोगों से बात की थी, मैंने एक ही चीज कही थी, हमारा एक ही लक्ष्य है, इनको सेफ निकालना। उसको देखते हुए हमारे देश में या विदेश में जिस भी चीज की हमको जरूरत थी, वो प्रधानमंत्री जी के मार्गदर्शन से वो हमको मिली। कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है, जितने साधन जुटाए गए हैं, इतने साधन किसी और ऑपरेशन के अंदर नहीं जुटे होंगे। दूसरी